know many of you probably don't like when I go live in my car, but look, this is during the school year, and this is what it is what it is. This is what I got to do. So, yeah, I just want to get right into it. I just think that when you're talking about black capitalism and excellence and everything like that, and then you put Jay Z and Beyonce in the same sentence, I think it's all based around delusion. They're delusional. The people who think that they're all these things, I think, might be a little bit delusional. There's so much to say. Now, look, I'm going to try to get this done on my ride home, okay? So let me just say this. First of all, go ahead and hit that subscribe button because I'm amazing in every way and can't do any wrong. For those of you who are new to my channel, I'm the Black Opinionated woman, also known as a B.O.W. So I give my opinions. They're mine. They're all the way mine. And I reserve the right to change them when I want to because I can. But this is how I feel. So, look. You guys who have been following me, guys and gals, bows and bow ties, you know that although I do like Beyonce, I just find her to be, I think people idolize her too much. And the same goes for Jay Z. If you don't believe me, then just go back and preview or watch some of my previous content. Now, look, I want to talk, I wrote some notes down here, so, but it was very quick because it was on my way out the door. Look. Number one, I just think this whole thing, I know Jay Z recently came out and was talking about capitalism. I mean, he kind of intimated or said basically that black people, I'm paraphrasing, so please go do your research for yourself, okay? I'm paraphrasing. This is what I interpreted from what I read. He's basically saying that, you know, the powerful, the elite, etc., have basically tried to I'm going to say weaponize the word of capitalism as if like to scare people off, right? As if it was like this dirty word, as if like, you know, it's this evil thing. And he's basically saying like, I'm not falling for the banana in a tailpipe, right? Because I know that, you know what, we're here, meaning black people, we have arrived. We bring the culture and the music and all that good stuff. And so basically he's just saying like, okay, well, you're not going to fool me now. Okay. So I just feel like, number one, and let me just say for the record, I am an engineer. I'm a tech person. I am not a political science person. I am not a historian. I am not someone who's well-versed in public policy or anything, but I am going to give my opinion, which is this. In order to succeed in capitalism, basically someone has to lose. Okay, so I would rather people say, like, just own it. Like, hey, look, I've succeeded in this capitalist thing. Like, don't try to make it seem like now all of a sudden, like you just all this hard work. Because somebody lose in order for you to gain, right? Like, especially for those who, like, for example, I think about somebody like a Jeff Bezos. He's worth like $1 million. Well, in order for him to have a net worth of so much, there has to be, you're gonna have to cut back in some place, right? Someone has to be exploited, basically. You know, there's gonna be a lot of people trading time for money, okay? And it's not necessarily a lot of money. So there might be a few who have, I guess, traded time for a significant amount of money. But the vast majority of people in the free world, the non-free world, any type of part of the world, they are trading time for money, and they're not bringing in billions and millions and millions of dollars. So someone has to lose, like someone has to be exploited, someone has to be subjugated. So let me start off like that. So I just feel like as he's talking, I feel like he's completely lost touch, right? Because like he grew up in the projects, he knows what it's like to hustle and everything like that. And the thing is, for him to become successful, he has admitted to hustle culture. And I'm not talking about like hustling like in terms of YouTube driving or Uber driving or Lyft or something, or door dashing or something like that, right? I'm talking about, you know, that other kind of rock kind of hustling and whatever it is he was doing, right? Like it was not necessarily like he hustled by staying up all night to read books or whatever like that. So he had to do some things that were not necessarily rooted in something for the common good, for, you know what I mean? Now, I feel like he's making it seem like because he just put in all this hard work and everything, and he has worked hard, right? He was a great talent, a great rapper talent, but he was able to leverage maybe his ill-gotten monies and his relationships that may not have been built on something that was positive in nature, whatever it is, to jumpstart his career and everything else. And he was a talented guy. I just feel like when he's talking, and I think because he has been rich for so long now, it's kind of like he's got this pull yourself up by the bootstraps type of mentality. And this is the thing. I want to talk about bootstraps for a second. I do believe there is some merit to that, right? Now, where am I going with this? Here in the United States, I do believe that we can find a way to put food on the table and put clothing on our backs. I believe that for Black Americans, I believe that there's just more hurdles. I do believe it can be done. But see, with him, I just get this impression like he's like, pull yourself up and just work really hard. But I'm like, but to what extent, right? Do I need to go sling some stuff, right? Do I need to run a lay of the night ring? I mean, like, what do I need to do in order to bring myself, like, to launch myself so that I can take the money from ill-gotten ways and now I can put it into something more legal or palatable? Anyway, so I just feel like he was just like on one. And I know I'm kind of late to addressing this because I've been on vacation, right? But I'm just kind of like, I just think he missed the mark. I feel like he made the comment that he was like equating like capitalism to being called like some sort of racial slur, like the N-bomb or like a monkey or something. I'm like, no, absolutely not. You're not going to sit here and gaslight everyone into thinking like, oh, the fact that somebody called you a capitalist, that this now makes you like this bad guy, and equate it to being called like the N-bomb or a monkey or something like that. I'm like, come on, like, we're not going to do that. It's completely disingenuous, right? I'm like, you need to stop. So I feel like, for example, to like, to whom much is given, much is required, right? So like he's gotten access to all kinds of businesses. I still don't understand his partnership with the NFL. I don't know what he's doing with the NFL. Like, I don't get it. I don't see how it benefits the community, or maybe he never intended to benefit the community. I would rather he just be honest and just say, hey, look, I'm not here to benefit the community. I'm all about me, me, me. I mean, that's the society we live in anyway. But to sit there and to act like he has, and like he's like a gift to the community, I just kind of feel like, look, I'm sure there's some things that he and Beyonce have done behind the scenes. But I kind of feel like when you are such a public figure and everyone is like idolizing you, like people like are literally thinking, they call them royalty. I'm like, there's nothing royal about them. I don't find Beyonce to be like this great representation for womanhood. She's telling bow down bees. Everything she does, she's selling sexuality. Not that sexuality isn't necessarily bad, but to me, that's mostly what she sells. She doesn't sell like a whole lot of grace. She doesn't sell the ability to speak extemporaneously. She does not sell taking care of yourself. She does not sell intelligence. What she sells is idolize me because I have money and look at my body. There's nothing about her that says I want to be like her as a woman, other than she's a pretty girl. I mean, I think I'm the bomb, right? Got a little delusion going on, but hey, I gotta be my own hype woman. The point I'm making is she's easy on the eyes, but I mean, what is she doing that's exemplifying womanhood? Like, she sends mixed messages, bow down bees, but then she wants to act like she's so like conscious and woke. I like her brown skin girl song and stuff like that, but like I said, like I listened to her lyrics and I'm just kind of like, honestly, a lot of her lyrics are silly. I like some of her music. She is a great talent. But I just feel like, yeah. Anyway, so that's where I am with that. I don't know what his purpose was for being part of the NFL. I don't see him doing things to like give back to the community. And like I think about like LeBron James. I think he did something with a school and everything else. And you know what? Jay Z may have very well have done that. But let me just make this clear. I think he's completely toned up and missing the mark. about this whole capitalism thing. I'm like, because there's so many people, not just black people, but I'm speaking specifically for the blackity blacks. There are so many people out here hurting. They are hurting. Now, I do want to make sure I make this clear. I am probably standing here in my full-on hypocrisy because I too work hard. I don't do anything illegal as far as I know, to put food on the table for my children. And I'm trying to acquire enough to where I'm not stressed. I want to make sure I have a legacy for my children. And that is part of this whole capitalism cog. But I just like to call a thing because capitalism in its purest form, I don't think is like the best form of government, just like socialism isn't. I don't think pure socialism is good or pure communism is good. Now, many of you are probably going to like try to reference Europe. I'm like, please don't be foolish and think that they're purely socialistic and all these other things. They're like a combination of multiple types of forms of government, just like we are here. It's just that we seem to be, based off of my generic knowledge, heavily swayed towards capitalism. But there's people who seem to think like, oh, we're not we don't believe in socialism. Like, well, actually we do. We believe in welfare, Medicaid, and that type of thing, and we constantly bail out businesses. That is socialism, if you ask me, because we're constantly giving these big businesses handouts and we're saving them when they are doing something that's destructive. But anyway, let me get back on topic. Yeah, I already mentioned the fact that he's not being fooled anymore by hating capitalism. So I would say this: I don't think it's wrong if you love capitalism. I just don't like for it to be like he's like, I shouldn't be ashamed for being successful or anything like that. I think if you have achieved, you should be proud of your success. I'm not sure if necessarily you should be proud of how you arrived at your success. I can't talk today. What is going on? Nevertheless, there's nothing wrong with being proud of being successful. He was a great talent. He leveraged his talent, all kinds of things. How he has chosen to leverage that, I don't know. I don't live his life. But I just feel like it's easy for him to say things like, how do I say this? I feel like anytime he speaks or Beyonce doesn't speak because she sounds silly when she speaks. I feel like whenever they speak or whenever Beyonce puts out a song or a video and they try to put some stuff in a song, I feel like they know they have the masses by the gonads, right? So that anytime they say something, I feel like they say just enough for the regular degular to feel like, yeah, they're just like one of us. I'm like, they are not one of us. They don't live like us regular people every day. Heck, some people are going to say, hello, Bo, you are not one of the regular people. Okay? And it's all on a matter of perspective, but I'm not on that level. So they're not one of us. They don't identify with everyday things. I guarantee you they weren't all that pressed about gas prices. They weren't concerned about the fact that, man, the cost of food went up. I think about it. I have 4 kids. I got to make all those sandwiches every day and buy fruit. That's why I just came from the store right now buying some fruit because they dog out all the fruit, right? Like, they got to have fruit every day, a snack every day, a sandwich or whatever every day. So I guarantee you they weren't concerned about those things. Think about all the people that Beyonce and Jay Z, they've exploited people. They know that there's so many other artists out there who don't even own their music. That's the reason why I made that comment about Beyonce in another video. I think it was the Beyonce. Was that the one? I can't remember what the name of the video is. If I remember, I'll go back and link it here or there, somewhere here. Beyonce, I just kind of felt like, I'm going to reiterate my point again. When Khalees made the comment about well, hey, it wasn't like Beyonce had given me a courtesy that she was using my music. And I know that, Khalees had a raw deal back in the day with, when she was 19, 20, 18 years old or whatever, and she didn't own her music. And think about all the people who were exploited back in the day. It was Khalees. It was, Tony Braxton, TLC, I think SWV, like so many artists got a raw deal. But then you got people like, all of these people who are like, who own their music, but not the artists, right? So when Beyonce sampled Khaleesi's thing, she's not a representation of womanhood, because when Khaleesi had called her out, you know what Beyonce should have thrown her? I don't want to say a bone because Khaleesi's not a dog. But Beyonce should have been like, you know what, you're right, sis. Hey, let me give a shout out to Khaleesi, or something, anything. So what she did was shady. What she did was she removed it. She removed whatever it was, the Khaleesi sample portion. What a corny chick. And I like Beyonce, but that was like a real corny move. And a lot of people are going to sit there and laud Beyonce. Oh, look what she did. Like she showed her, like that's how you do it. That's how you clear someone or whatever. I don't know. I'm just kind of like, that's what we're celebrating. That's what we're celebrating. There's an ethical component to this. So look, for all of you Beyonce stands out there, you are allowed to be mad. I don't care. My little channel is so tiny anyway. Look, I said what I said. Look, let me tell you something. You need to stop idolizing these celebrities. Beyonce and Jay Z are not beyond reproach. I don't even understand why Jay Z's wearing his hair like that. Everybody seems to be wearing, I shouldn't say everybody. I don't even know where that came from. I guess somebody or some designer or something has the weird hair thing now. I don't understand it, but I guess he thinks he's conscious, and I don't know what it is. I don't like it. And I don't care what anybody says. I'm not anti-black. I just flat out don't like it. I'm like, some hair's going here, there, but hey, to each his own. I'm sure people don't like me wearing extensions in my hair. So look, anyway, I just feel like with Jay Z, he should be proud of being like of his success as an artist and a business and stuff like that. But like I said, how he arrived there, I'd rather he just be honest and call a thing and be like, look, thing, I was shady on how I got here. I'm all a proponent for capitalism. I know it hurts people. I just don't really care. You can't act like you're all altruistic, like, it was only hard work and everything that got me here. I'm like, yeah, but people had to be exploited. Like I said, I look at somebody like a Jeff Bezos. He has the right to spend his money however he wants to spend it. I always said this. I don't know if I'm for eating the rich. I kind of am, but I feel like when you get to the point where you're making that much money, how do you not have any humanity, right? Everyone likes to say things like, oh, if they gave away all their money, they wouldn't have any. Well, I don't know if I believe that. And there's nothing compelling in you to say, maybe the town I live in, well, I shouldn't even say the town, right? Because it's probably a really wealthy town. But the town next over, maybe I should pay all the taxes off for all the homeowners. I don't know. I'm just making something up. Or I'm going to make it so that every single child in that school has a computer to use. Like, I live in an area where my kids just have computers. Like, they take them home. It is what it is. They keep it as they matriculate up through the grades, and that's it. Not everybody has access to that. Maybe if they did that, maybe they said, like, everybody eats free. Everyone eats free, or everyone, when you show up to school, the day you show up to school, everyone gets a backpack with all the supplies they need in it. Done. I don't know. This is just off the top of my head. How about for the places where, like, for example, I was thinking about how much people are struggling out there. You got all these people making millions and billions and jillions. What about the places where people don't have access to adequate medical facilities? Just long ago, Detroit had a water crisis. And now we're seeing it in Jackson, Mississippi. We've got a teacher crisis. I mean, like, we could be paying our teachers. We have a teacher shortage. We will pay more for these tickets to go see Beyonce shake her hind parts in a tutu than we put in our teachers. We'll pay more to go see a game. Well, not, I mean, we usually get, no, it depends on what kind of game it is. But you understand my point. We pay more for things that probably don't even matter. Not to say that the arts don't matter, but wow. but we won't pay our teachers. So yeah, I feel like you got people like a Jeff Bezos or whoever, right? They know that they are exploiting people. They are. You can't make that much money without exploiting somebody else. And I think that's the reason why the young people are like, eat the rich. But getting back to Jay Z, he's completely tone deaf. You can't come out here talking about like, oh, you're not gonna fool me anymore by telling me that capitalism is a bad word. I'd rather he just be honest and say, you know what? Now that I'm part of the upper echelon and I'm part of this capitalistic engine, look, I'm happy with how I was able to navigate it. I figured it out, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, if he was honest, I'd be like, hey, we don't have to like it, but it is what it is. But he's making it seem like he's completely altruistic, as if like it was just like my hard work and my hustle. I'm like, dude, it was my ill-gotten means. He is completely tone deaf, just like his ding-dong wife. Look, so I think that this is the thing. Many of these, the people in the United States and around the world, I need to make sure they understand Beyonce and Jay Z don't care about you. They don't care about you. I want to make it abundantly clear. So while you guys are out there sitting there feeding them all this money, going to their concerts, buying all this stuff, they don't care about you. The same thing goes for people like Kanye. Kanye is only black when he needs people to buy his records or his sneakers. Otherwise, he does not care about you. And especially black people, we are so dumb. I don't care. People can get mad, leave it in a comment. We are dumb. We fall for the banana in the tailpipe every single time. So, getting back to my point, I think in order for you to succeed in a very capitalistic society, someone has to lose. Someone has to be subjugated. It has to happen. I do believe that people should be allowed to do what they want with their money. I mean, but I'm just saying it does seem a little unethical if you're making billions and you got people around you suffering, so you go live on your private island. And let me tell you something. Let me make this clear. I'm sure if I had millions, I would be living in a private spot too. I'm calling the thing a thing. However, I do believe there is a responsibility, a moral responsibility, like in your surrounding areas or whatever. Like maybe you are just saying, you know what, let me help take care of putting money towards the infrastructure, the schools, paying the teachers, right? Helping Detroit or Mississippi or whatever get potable water, building hospitals in depressed areas, building grocery stores in depressed areas, paying off the education for those who want to become dentists and doctors and surgeons. Yeah, and teachers. We need teachers and doctors and surgeons and all that good stuff. Nurses. We need them. I think even getting back to Beyonce, I'm gonna like pivot to her, how they are basically delusional. I think Beyonce thinks she's some great woke mind or something. Now, these are just my opinions. I'm like, everything about her just seems so disingenuous. She's not even relatable. Nothing about her is relatable. Nothing. She's highly produced. She's never natural. She can't talk on her own. I haven't heard her talk in a long time because she's like, I'm like, girl. You know, I don't know if she's ever completed her high school education. Maybe she has. But I think like the messaging just doesn't match. It's like she shows one thing. She's like fully glossed out and glammed out. But she wants to talk about motherhood and womanhood, stuff like that. Girls. And I'm like, you're not like a normal girl. You're not a normal chick. Nothing about you is relatable. You're not out there on the ground floor, and it's hard when you have that level of success, right? Okay, you get to just sample people's music when you want because you have these connections, and if somebody calls you out, you're just like, you just write them off. It doesn't matter to you. Feelings don't matter. Artistry doesn't matter, or someone else's artistry. You just do what you want because you're Beyonce, right? Now, I know a lot of people think I'm anti-Beyonce. I'm not. I'm just calling out stuff. Look, I call out my own hypocrisy half the time. But it doesn't mean it shouldn't be called out. I think Jay Z and Beyonce they have settled into this notion when people say they're black royalty. No, they're not. not black royalty. I think that they're completely I still don't even understand what Jay Z does for the black community, nor Beyonce. But we sit there and we prop them up. We give them all this money. What have they given back to us? And I'm sure they've given something, but it's probably a pittance, right? What have they given back? Are they opening up these hospitals or learning centers or investment centers, agricultural centers for like learning how to? I don't know. I'm just like, they're delusional. I'm tired of people who are the black capitalists. Like, once they have arrived, it's kind of like they feel like they've unlocked some code, and maybe they have, but then it's like they get so far removed. And look, because I'm not on that side where they are, I think it is easier for me to speak from this position, right? Just like there are people who are in a more economically depressed situation than I am, so they probably look at me as like I'm wealthy. Maybe to them I am wealthy. I know I'm not wealthy, but to them I might be. So I'm sure there's a disconnect with me, right? Like I am sure there's a disconnect, but it doesn't mean that someone shouldn't call it out. Just like it doesn't mean I shouldn't call out there's a disconnect with Jay Z and Beyonce. Y'all need to stop idolizing them. Like it's just too much. It's just too much. All right, that's it. Go ahead and like and subscribe because I'm amazing. I gotta be my own hype woman, right? Like, look, Jay Z and Beyonce, they're into their own messaging. They believe that they're like royalty as far as I'm concerned. So look, I'm a black opinionated woman. I'm getting ready to get off of this because I'm not too far from my house. I'm coming through the yellow brick road. All right, subscribe and leave a comment. Later. Oh yeah, how do I get this again? Why isn't this leaving?